First and foremost, welcome. We're so glad that you're joining online or you're joining here at the Activity Center. Ms. Hughes, that's a lot of pressure. You mentioned great speaker and important individual, and I just all of a sudden started getting a little nervous. So it is a pleasure to be with you. I'd like to first and foremost thank our board of directors for their support, but also advocacy for our GT program across Northside and all of our schools. We can give our board of directors a round of applause. Just a show of hands, because I know that I was just conversing with a group. How many GT educators here in Northside do we have with us this evening? Awesome. Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for the work that you continue to do. It truly is amazing work, and you go the extra mile to ensure all of our students and learners' needs are being met. So thank you for taking time out of your busy evenings to also be with us. Much of probably what I'm going to articulate this evening, you probably have heard. You could probably give this presentation for that matter. So I don't mean to bore you, but I do want to kind of provide just a state of the district as to where we are, not only as a 100,000 foot view, as a district of over 100,000 students, but also looking at GT programming, and then of course looking ahead. Now I've been told, Roxanne, again, thank you so much for your diligence in setting up this, I would say, somewhat technical, complicated system. Hopefully it's working and you're seeing everything online. Okay, but appreciate all of your hard work and support. Roxanne Brown and Jill Hackney, for those of you that don't know, are Director of Advanced Academics or Director of GT. They do tremendous work. And so before I begin, if we give them a round of applause. Okay, so I'm going to try to drive, and I'm going to work through some slides pretty quickly. Our mission hasn't changed. It remains to transform the learning experience for all of our students. Our learner profile, we want to have obviously creators, collaborators, leaders, which I will argue is a really important attribute for future learners, future leaders, and the future workforce, innovators, solution finders, communicators, and critical thinkers. You'll see through our core beliefs that there's a theme that really jumps out, and it's engagement. And I've mentioned this before, but if you just look at our core beliefs, that truly is about engaging parents, engaging students, engaging staff, and the entire learning process throughout the district. And so, like I say, our directional plan, I've been asked, well, is it going to change? No, I have no intention of trying to change our directional plan, because I think that Northside is on a phenomenal direction as we exist. Just a few numbers. We are currently 131 campuses, soon to be 132 campuses. So this makes us the fourth largest school district in the state. Having had the opportunity, it's hard to believe, this is actually my 13th year, I'm completing my 13th year as a superintendent of schools. If my teachers back in high school could see me today, yeah, they wouldn't believe it. But having the opportunity, hadn't had the opportunity to serve another large school district here in Central Texas, Killeen ISD. We had over 46,000 students. I understand and have grown to appreciate really the size and scale of Northside. And even though we are large, I'll talk a little bit more about this momentarily, it's a big family. And we're going to work to maintain that feel throughout the district. 21 high schools, obviously. This includes 12 comprehensive high schools, 9 magnets, 82 elementary schools, 24 middle schools, and of course we have now 3 magnet middle schools. Over 101,000 students, 12,600 employees, of which about 6,900 are teachers. This year alone, we have hired over 1,000 new teachers just in Northside ISD alone, which is a pretty phenomenal statistic. We speak over 1,000 languages. One of the things that I'm really appreciative of is how much we celebrate and acknowledge, and we learn from one another from a diversity standpoint. I think that those are really, really important lessons that our students and our staff are incorporating on a daily basis, because I think it's going to carry them very far in life. Just a few updates on bond projects. We did open Katie Reed Elementary School. This was a part of the 2018 bond that our community graciously supported. We have a new Teach High School, which is our newest magnet. This is one that's really near and dear to my heart. And of course, I'm a little bit biased, having had the opportunity to visit with students this morning, actually. This is to really recruit and prepare our next generation of educators. If you haven't heard, there's a little bit of an educator shortage in our nation right now. And so, like I say, this is a program that's really near and dear to my heart. And we have approximately, or will have approximately 300 freshmen through juniors as part of the Teach program next year. And then I mentioned one of our new magnet programs, the Hobby Magnet program. This is a focus on health science fields that just recently opened. And of course, again, this is a new facility, additional facility at Hobby. You may have seen Jay High School. We're really proud of the auditorium, the new auditorium that's being constructed. If you haven't seen this, it aesthetically is gorgeous. The Glass Elementary School building replacement, Holmes High School. We have Holmes here. The building I know just opened over the Christmas break, and we're still moving in and getting comfortable, but we're very, very proud to bring that addition on as well. As far as the 2022 bond, we have a new ASTA program at O'Connor High School. As you well know, this is our Ag Science program. This is really a kind of a unique program in the sense that you think about food science, a lot of times we don't think about meat processing. And so this is actually going to be a facility that's going to have a meat processing plant embedded within it that's going to teach students how to process meat. So if you enjoy fillets and T-bones and sirloin, be on the lookout. Come to a school near you, O'Connor High School. Chumley Elementary School is well underway. It will actually open this upcoming fall 2024. The board just recently elected to name the school after Melissa Chumley, long-serving board member, trustee here in the district. And so we'll be bringing it on. It will provide much-needed relief to Cole Elementary School. Do we have representation from Cole with us this evening, maybe online? If not, Cole Elementary School is sitting a little over 1,300 students currently. So we're desperately needing to provide this relief. Rayburn Middle School Administration Suite replacement, Westwood Terrace Elementary School is underway. We've also got Colonies North, which is going to be, in essence, a replacement campus, a very complicated process. So, like I say, the 2022 bond program is also well underway. From an academic accountability standpoint, I know that there's a lot of discussion in and around, particularly of the lawsuit that has been filed against the Commissioner of Education and TEA. We still look at scores, and I think that looking at scores is important, and whether it be MAP assessments, whether it be STAR assessments, not to say that there's any one perfect assessment or particularly, standardized assessment. One of the highlights that I just want to make really clear is for every subject area, just looking at approaches, and this is in essence, approaches is what the state considers passing, if you will. Why it's approaches grade level is a whole other conversation, but we have attained levels that exceed the state and Region 20 in all areas, subject matters, except for mathematics, and we're making tremendous gains in mathematics as well. So while the A3F ratings is still being debated, contemplated, litigated, like I say, we are on track and recovering, I will argue, very nicely from COVID in particular. Along with staffing, safety has really been a priority when we launched this school year. And looking back at the first semester, there's been some things that I'm pretty proud of that we incorporated. Of course, our weekly routine door checks. We want to make sure that doors are properly closing and securing. We're working to install security vestibules in our campuses that don't already have security vestibules. So in essence, one entry point, one checkpoint. We've implemented an SRP language, which is a standard response protocol. Our educators know probably this well. It's a common language so that it's really clear as far as what directives are being announced and what actions need to be taken. One of the things that we've learned over the course of lessons in school safety is that we've got to be clear, concise, and timely. And so the SRP program allows us to better serve our campuses and particularly our staff and students. The enumeration of exterior doors, this sounds really simple, but when you think about literally almost 10,000 doors, exterior doors across the district, it's pretty labor intensive. And this is simply so that emergency services know which entry we have, say, a staff or a student that needs an ambulance for whatever circumstances may have presented themselves. They know exactly where to entry, what entry point, and where to go. And again, saving time. One of the things that we've implemented this year are mandatory IDs at our high schools. One of the things that became very apparent, and I take full credit or fault, depending on the audience, high school students or parents, but when we have open campus lunches, which our juniors or seniors are allowed to leave campuses, one of the concerns, particularly for our more open campuses, was how do we know who is coming back on campus and they actually belong to us? They are a student at one of our high schools. And so this is the ID policy that has been put in place. We have allocated an additional 40 officers. While we're still struggling to staff all of these positions, the idea is that we will be able to matriculate into one officer per campus across all 131, soon to be 132 campuses. We're in the process of finalizing our silent panic alert technology. This is an immediate notification that we can hit a button in the front office and notify emergency personnel in the event that we have an intruder or we need immediate response. Some of the things that we're putting in place, and I'll come back to mental health support, but some of the things we're putting in place also is we deployed a random metal detector along with a canine search. Some of our high school folks may have experienced this. This is more or less to ensure that students understand that if they take the risk of bringing, i.e., a weapon or narcotics to school, there is a strong likelihood that they could be going through a metal detector and then to be followed by a canine dog searching bags, possessions, what have you. I think that it's proven to be a pretty strong deterrent, and I do know this, just in visiting with our student voice groups, which we have for all of 12 of our high schools and magnet programs, they're recognizing this. In fact, the text messages get really active once they start seeing our canines, which we have 2 now, soon to have 3 in the district, as well as metal detectors being deployed. And then our whole child department, I'm very, very proud of their work from a mental health support. We knew that coming out of COVID, how important social emotional learning was going to be in supporting our students. And so whether it be through our GTEAC services, whether it be through our counseling services, which this week is National Counseling Week, by the way. Thank you. We have counselors with us tonight. Thank your counselors, because they do pretty phenomenal work on a daily basis. We want to make sure that we're supporting, like I say, the social emotional needs of all of our students. So now I'm going to drill down into some numbers. And this is truly a testament to Roxanne, but also all of our GT educators. And this was a statistic that I found to be pretty interesting. When we start looking at 2019, 2020, and you're seeing this annual decrease of 8 to 9%, but then in 21, 22, and then of course, as probably more importantly, 22, 23, 15.3% increase, as well as in 23, 24, we're already at another increase, still identifying kindergarten, first grade, and second students. We're growing our GT students. We're identifying GT students, which is really important because when you start looking at proportionality, which I do often, whether it be GT students, whether it be special education students, whether it be bilingual, we have to start thinking about program support. And of course, this is from not only a budgeting and allocation of resources, but just an overall planning standpoint. And so, like I say, testament to Roxanne. I know that, like I say, she can probably describe some of the programmatic changes. You know, it's a team effort. We talk about the team effort, but it does take the leadership. So again, thank you for your efforts and hard work. So as far as how we serve our GT students, you know, unless I'm directed otherwise, I do feel like that we have a pretty comprehensive program. So we obviously offer pull-out services to all of our grades 1 through 5 elementary school students and GT classes on a weekly basis. We have GT specialists that participate in activities to promote creative and independent thinking. One of the programs that we currently have at 59 of our campuses, elementary campuses, as you can see, is the MAC GT program. The best way that I can describe, as it's been described to me, is this is an advanced mathematics course that is embedded within the elementary school schedule that our GT students are also exposed to. And while we're at 59 campuses currently, our plan going forward for next year is to expand to all 82 elementary campuses. So again, Roxanne, thank you for your leadership in that effort. At the middle school, and this was a pretty significant program service change as of the 22-23 school year. So last school year, we have Innovative Thinkers 1 in 6th grade, Innovative Thinkers 2, 7th, and then 3, obviously, in 8th grade. And this is, like I say, a pretty significant change because these are year-long courses that are dedicated to developing critical thinking, exploring creative thinking, developing independent thinkers. And so this is, like I say, a pretty significant change because I don't believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, Roxanne, that this course was offered at any of the levels, 6th, 7th, or 8th grade, prior to the 22-23 school year. The other piece is our 3 magnet programs. All of our core content instructors, teachers are GT certified, which I think is also a testament and really important our magnet programs. And then our high schools, we have GT Leadership, which serves primarily our freshmen, sophomores, our GT Leadership 2, which is primarily sophomores and juniors. And then, of course, as we've already had conversations tonight, the ISM program, the project that I know that our GT students not only take very serious, but take a lot of pride in. Like I say, I know that at the high school, sometimes the perception is it's really difficult to meet the needs of GT learners. And I think that through especially the independent mentorships and the projects, which I'm looking forward to seeing in April and May, it really serves our students very, very well. So one of the things that I'd like to spend a little bit of time on is just talking about visioning, and this is just more or less conversation. Each year, and we spent a lot of time with our board of trustees over the summer months in looking at what are our goals, what are our priorities, what we want to focus really our time, energy, effort, resources in accomplishing. And so I won't go through all the goals and won't read them all, but you can see we want to make sure that we maintain and continue to foster the Northside culture. We want to make sure that students have the ability and opportunities to participate and become well-rounded students. And while academia is obviously at the forefront, will always be the priority, it is important that students are exposed to other activities beyond the classroom. We want to make sure that we're hiring the best, the highest quality instructors for every classroom as much as we possibly can. And then again, I mentioned the SEL management, whole child development. This is also a very important goal. So what does this entail? Well, when we start talking about the NISD culture, I will argue that it's very healthy. In fact, we just launched a survey, and thank you if you participated in the survey. We'll be releasing those results here momentarily once the community aspect closes. But part of that is we need feedback. And it's been a little while since we've actually surveyed students, staff, and community, parents. And so, like I say, we're going to be developing dashboards and looking at areas that, yes, areas of celebration, but also areas that we can tweak and improve. For example, I know this, one of the themes, because I've kind of taken a sneak peek at some of the data, that are secondary students, we need to improve the food quality in our cafeterias. So, okay, statistics speak for itself, Thomas Weary. We need to start figuring out what we can do. We want to make sure, like I say, that there are measures of satisfaction, and we're receiving this continuous feedback, to be able to improve. One of the other areas that we're working on right now is a district-wide marketing campaign. If you visit our district webpage lately, you probably have seen that it's somewhat modifying and changing. It's becoming a little more interactive. It's work in progress. We obviously can't just bring it down. But like I say, we're going to continue to work and market a lot of the excellent learning opportunities that we have, whether it be through magnet programs, extracurricular, co-curricular activities, because there are so many positives that we can promote, especially when it comes to school choice. Again, we want to make sure that we're measuring more than just academia and progress. And so whether it be advanced academics, whether it be industry recognized certifications in the CTE fields, whether it be CCMR, SAT, ACT, TSI, military enlistment, we want to make sure that we're collecting data and measuring all of these success points and benchmarks. One of the things that we're working on right now is the kind of idea is we're developing some real quick 60-second instructional videos for parents, but also for students, particularly about to enter middle school and high school, so that they understand course selection, they understand magnet programs, they understand how GPA is calculated, they understand the difference between AP, dual credit, dual enrollment. Because one of the things that has become pretty evident in, like I say, an advisory group made of students from all of our high schools is, we didn't really learn about that until we were in our 11th, 12th grade year. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, that's a little bit late, because we all know, you all know, that for the most part, GPA is pretty well established that freshman and sophomore year. And so we're going to work, like say, to provide these resources that are standardized and they're consistent messaging across the district for, like say, parents and students to access. Staffing. It's much better this year than it was last year. We still have some work to do. Currently, we have about 170 classroom teaching vacancies. Now, again, 6,900, that's kind of putting it in scale, but we do have some critical shortage areas. Bilingual education, special education educators. I mean, these are positions that when we open positions, we have 0 applicants right now. And so we're having to really work at some creative ways to try to recruit, whether it be hiring incentives, bonuses, stipends for these critical shortage areas. Like I say, we're having to really look creatively as to how we go about this, because unfortunately, kind of just looking at our supply chain, i.e. our institutions of higher education, we don't have just droves of educators that are ready to land right here in Northside. So some of the other efforts are including trying to grow and develop our own. In fact, this year the board is now offering individuals to go back and receive their teaching certification, a reimbursement of up to $5,000. Now there's a 3-year commitment to come back and teach for Northside ISD. Kind of just mention that part, but that's how important it is. We want to make sure that we're doing everything we can, because we know any amount of vacancies, particularly across campuses, can be really burdensome. For example, having an elementary teacher as a wife, I should say a wife as an elementary teacher, my priority straight. She often talks about, well, I get pulled to have to cover this class, or I get pulled to have to cover, and it's hard because it takes away from planning time. It takes away from her being able to contact and communicate with parents. And so, like I say, staffing is really an important priority. And then I mentioned, like I say, SEL, mental health support, the whole child development. This is so important. Kimberly Ridgely does I believe, a phenomenal job. Again, we've got an entire department. The classroom behavior framework, we want to make sure that our counselors in particular are supported and understand how not only to identify students that may be in need, but also to assist in ensuring that they're getting to the resources that they need. We talk about a consistent, fair discipline management program that's implemented with fidelity. One of the things that we've had to implement this year, unfortunately, is a first offender vape offender program. Not something that I'm really proud of, but I will say that just receiving anecdotal feedback is it's been really positive. because there's a parental support aspect that is entailed in order for students to successfully complete the program. And we're not having a lot of recidivism, which is, to me, an indicator that, okay, it's having an impact. It's also not a mandatory placement to an alternative campus for a 30 or 45-day stint, which we all know how impactful that can be on a student's overall education. So those are programs, like I say, that we're continuing to work to ensure that, like I say, we're supporting and developing the whole child. Now I'm going to shift gears because I know I'm probably running short on time, and I'm looking over at this table. So let's talk a little bit about the legislative front. And this is probably my least favorite topic to discuss this evening, because over the course of 246 days, so that would be a full general session that began at the end of January of 2023, if my years are correct, and then 4 special sessions. I can honestly say not a lot was accomplished in regards to public education. So there are a few takeaways here. You've heard the state of the economy in the state of Texas. The great state of Texas is very strong. It is very strong. And getting down to the numbers, the legislature and the LBB, or Legislative Budget Board, who develops the budget, they really had at hand $15 billion that could be applied to support public education. Okay, keep that number in mind. We know that from 2019 to 2022, as a result of the inflationary measures that we've all felt and all experienced, it would cost approximately $7,100 in comparison to the $6,160, which is the basic allotment that we receive across the state. So if you just kind of think about what is the base level of funding for students, it's $6,160. You take into account inflation, it's almost $1,000 more to provide the same services that we were providing in 2019. This places Texas, the great state of Texas, in the bottom quartile when it comes to funding of all 50 states per student funding as to what we invest in public education. And so you're going to hear, yes, this is a little bit of a platform that it's very frustrating when you experience as a superintendent the 2010-2011 $4.5 billion deficit, where we experienced cuts and we had to make a lot of tough decisions, that we're in the exact opposite position, i.e. we're flush with cash, but we can't get legislative support to take care of teacher salaries, to take care of accountability reform, to take care of inflationary impact. And so this also kind of puts it in perspective. Of the 8,300 plus bills filed, almost 1,300 were somehow related to public education. And very, very few of those made it across the finish line. And so as a result, 246 days. This is the second longest annual time period that the legislature has met. In fact, you have to go back to 1846. I'm going to ask our history. Does anybody remember when did the state of Texas become the state of Texas? 1845. Okay, so in 1846, we were starting the state of Texas. So they spent a few more days in 1846 than they did this last legislative session. And here's the real takeaway. There were no significant bills passed to increasing teacher compensation, to increase the basic allotment, again, that base level funding, to fully fund special education, because there was a report that was generated that the state of Texas was underfunding special education by over $2 billion, had the money to do so, to fully fund school safety mandates. We received an 18-cent per student increase to our school safety allotment, 18 cents. That does not even remotely come close to paying for an officer. Not even close. Nor implement the recommendations from the Teacher Vacancy Task Force, which, if you recall, leading up to the 88th legislative session was a priority of we need to figure out how do we recruit, how do we retain, how do we ensure public education, the vitality of public education going forward. Not a single recommendation of that report was implemented nor supported legislatively. So this is why it's important. This is my ask, my only ask. I know you've got asks and questions coming, but this is my only ask. These upcoming primary elections are really, really important. And without getting into partisan politics, it is vitally important. I will argue probably the most important primary election as it pertains to public education, which you see the dates. Last day of early voting is Friday, March 24th, and of course, election day is March 5th. We would love, because we have voting sites across the district, we would love to see everyone take the advantage of early voting, which begins February 20th. Sometimes it's misunderstood. In the state of Texas, you do not have to declare which party you're voting in. In fact, you can vote one year in the Democratic primary and the next year in the Republican primary. And so, again, I promise I won't get into partisan politics, but there are some things at play right now, in particular withholding school funding, part of that $15 billion that is available hostage until some form of a school choice, i.e. education savings account or voucher bill is passed. And you all read, like I say, probably all the history and all the stories, so I won't get into the nitty-gritty details. But I will say that the upcoming primary elections are really, really important. And I didn't want to end with that. You know, one of the things that I'm very, very proud of to be a part of Northside ISD is just the tremendous accomplishments. And each week I publish a Catching Up with Craft. Haven't tuned in or read it. Part of my experience is being able to go and see a lot of our students' success. And that's the fun part of the job. I like to visit with students. I like to see them in action. I like to see them reaping the benefits of the hard work of Board of Trustees, administration, but particularly teachers, coaches, and sponsors. And so I won't go through all of them because, like I say, there's so many. But we're very, very proud, and we need to remain very, very proud. In fact, the O'Connor High School Jazz Band will perform tomorrow night at the TDMEA Association Conference right here in San Antonio, which is really a big, big deal. All 12 of our high school bands received UIL sweepstakes this year. That doesn't just happen coincidentally. That's a lot of hard work on behalf of our directors and our students. We implemented middle school cross country. We weren't really sure exactly what to expect. We had over 500 athletes competing at each meet. As Stan Lang, our assistant superintendent for athletics, will tell you, they definitely learned what not to eat prior to running 2 miles. So it's all part of the education process. We had all 4 regional volleyball quarterfinals were NISD teams, first time in history. And those accolades continue. In fact, our girls basketball teams were just announced. They actually just went to the playoffs or just entering the playoffs this week. And so lots and lots of success. And again, we want to celebrate the success of our staff as well. Just a few, we had Dominic Roos, 8th grade social studies at Folks, named the KENS 5 Excel winner. We had 10 additional campuses receive Purple Star designations, which is a designation, TA designation, that is a very welcoming department, particularly for military transitioning families. We had Brandon Flores, our college career military advisor at Jay High School, KSAT Educator of the Month, which was really awesome because 3 of her students that she advised that are now in institutions of higher education, college, university, came back and just sang her praises. It was pretty awesome. I mentioned that we had 3 students as National Merit semifinalists. We were able to recognize our last board meeting. So like I say, just a lot of celebrations and accolades. And I'll wrap up. I'll argue also that our theme this year, when we kicked off with convocation, is teamwork. And as large as we are, over 100,000 students we serve each and every day, almost 13,000 employees. It truly is about teamwork. And it's about the relationships that we share, we build on a daily basis, not only with our students, but with one another. It all works. And so I can tell you that from the almost year now, which is just crazy to even think about, I have been most impressed with not only the professionalism of our staff, the support of our community, but most importantly, just how awesome our students are. So with that, thank you for the opportunity. I know I probably overspoke and spent way too much time, but if we have some time, I'll be glad to try to take any questions and fire away. And if I can't answer, Roxanne's right here to save me.
Raise hands. We have any questions?
It must be still the new guy effect. Well, let me say this. It is going to be an incredibly busy spring, and I think that looking forward, I feel like once the primary elections kind of settle, I think that the legislature is going to reconvene, which is less than a year from now. I think that there's going to be a pendulum swing. I think there's going to be additional school funding forthcoming. But your advocacy and your support of not only our GT students, which I will tell you is really important, and we will continue to support and promote GT programming, but all student programming, because it is one of those that it's a little bit of a fight right now, and it's not all media rhetoric. A lot of it, there is a lot of unfortunate truth, and so your support of Northside ISD and continued support of public education is really, really important. We couldn't do it without your support. So thank you so much, and appreciate the opportunity. I'll stick around if you have questions. I know that sometimes the public formats may not be the most comfortable, so please come up and introduce yourself. I'd love to meet you. And like I say, thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you, everybody, for coming. And all those accomplishments that Dr. Kraft talked about with GT, you guys all know, it's not about me, it's about all of y'all. Everybody, those of you that are watching online, teachers, you're the ones that get it done in the classroom. We lead from central office, but you guys do it. And it also isn't possible without the rest of the GT crew that's sitting in the back. All those people that work with me, Vivian and Junior and Katie, and of course, Jill. So thank you so much. And we did not have any questions online, so you got lucky. But don't worry, there's people here and somebody probably has a question for you. I think Ms. Hughes has something, and then we'll let you go after she speaks.
Thank you again for coming. I really appreciate all of you being here. And as Roxanne said, I know we've got lots of GT specialists in the room. So thank you for all you do. Again, I want to remind you about the fundraiser on February 16th. Please put it on your calendar. Again, you've got board members here. We are going to be meeting in a couple of months, and we'll start talking about our agenda already for next year. So as GT specialists, if there's things that we can do for you, that we can do for your students, more resources we can give you. We work with Roxanne all the time. We want to try and bring those things to you. That's what we're here for. So please stop us, talk to us, email us, whatever. We're here for you. So thanks again. Have a wonderful night. I know Marissa doesn't want to take Girl Scout cookies home, so please grab a napkin, grab cookies on your way out, bottle of water, and thanks again. Have a safe trip home tonight. Thank you.